believe what you're about to see. It's called the ever popular vanishing pinky. Yes, that's right. This finger is going to vanish on the count of 3 into my fist. Watch. 1, 2, 3, gone. Ta-da! Can't see it, can you? You don't buy that, huh? Well, let me show you. If I really did vanish the finger, when I open my fist, you should not be able to see the pinky. It's not over here. It's not over here. Just in case you're a skeptic, let me show you. Actually, there is no pinky. If I felt like it, I could spread my fingers, but I don't feel like it. And if there's no finger over here, logically speaking, there should be no pinky here. And to bring it back, all you have to do is this, and that's called the ever popular vanishing. But let me show you how this is done. I don't want you to go home and try this and break your fingers. It's not worth it. What this actually is a telescopic pinky. You see, it telescopes into the palm. I wouldn't lie. You could really take this finger and push it so it goes inside and pull it out the same way. I mean, I could really take it and push it so it goes all the way in. I mean, really way, way in there. And of course, I could bring it back the same way. But you see, once in a while, something very strange happens and this finger goes. When that one comes back, this one goes. When that one comes back, you know, the last one's just got to go. But of course, you know, that's impossible, right? It can't be done. It's called sleight of hand, by the way. That's a technical name we gave it. Does anybody know what this is? Very good. Now, actually, it's how I got here yesterday. I call this my traveling thumb, and that's because it travels up and down my arm. Do you realize this is my favorite part of the entire show? Really, I mean, just out of curiosity, anybody here didn't like that last part? I see you recognize. They say Brooklyn credit card. I never leave home without it. What will I do? Well, using this knife, I'm going to cut my finger off. On the count of 3, watch that pinky. 1, 2. If anybody has a weak stomach, too bad. Here's on the count of 3, watch that pinky. 1, 2, 3. What are you, a bunch of sadists? I cut my finger off, you having fun? But don't despair, because I carry spares. And do you realize if this was for real, I'd only be able to do it 10 times? And it's back. Thank you very much. What you have just seen is my Finger Fantasies act. I've basically been earning a living doing this routine since 1979, and now I'm going to spill my guts and tell you all the real work on how to make your fingers vanish. I'm going to teach the basic finger vanish first, then I'll go through the entire routine and show you word for word how the entire act is accomplished. Making your finger vanish is actually not as difficult as it may seem. A lot of people think, well, you have to be double jointed or triple jointed. It really all has to do with angles. The entire move, I'll teach you with the index finger to make it easy for you to follow. All you have to do is take your index finger and bend it back. Bend it back like this. I'm absolutely exposed at this point. You could see this perfect. You could see this index finger. If I tilt the hand back and down, the finger seems to disappear, even though it's still over here. So if you can cross your fingers, basically you can do this trick. So, and that's all there is to it. You push the wrist back, tilt the hand down. Let me show you how that works. Basically, we'll pretend that this pen is are your eyes, and I'm going to bend this index finger back. Here's what happens. These are your eyes going straight ahead over my hand and hitting the finger. This is your eye seeing the finger. But look, if I push the wrist back, these are your eyes looking straight ahead, but now you're only touching the tip of the index finger. So if I tilt the hand down like that, these are your eyes going straight across, never seeing the finger. And that's exactly how the thing works. All you do is you push the wrist back, tilt the hand down, and the finger seems to disappear. That's how all the fingers are done. And what I'm going to do now is go through the entire routine and giving you a lot more detail on how the trick is done. First thing you need is a fake rubber finger. And there are a lot of ways to make one of these. You could buy a rubber hand and just cut the finger off of it. And then I cut a bridge in the finger. Sometimes I also put a metal bar. What you want to do is be able to back clip that fake finger like this. That's the position you want to be in. This finger goes into your right jacket pocket. Right pants pocket. You also need a switchblade. You don't have to use a switchblade since it's illegal in most states in the United States. But any kind of knife will do, a butterfly knife, which is legal. This is the one that seems to get the best laugh for me. It's the one that swings out. I've tried the ones that shoot out. This seems to work best for me. This goes into my left pants pocket. The other thing you need is a string of fingers. Once again, you could buy a rubber hand and string them along, or you could actually buy fake fingers and put them on a string. This is the ending I've used. I've used many endings over the years. This is the one I'm happiest with. One finger goes inside your armpit in the jacket pocket. The other finger goes right inside the pocket. So the thing is just basically sitting in this position. You're now prepared for the entire act. The first thing you do is the vanishing finger, and it was invented by my friend Joe Monti. This is how it works. You make a fist, and you push the index finger into the fist. But what actually happens is you bend your finger on the way down. Here's an exposed view. The finger actually bends right into position. So you now can show your hand empty. You could turn around and show the other side of the hand empty. And then you could actually even open up your hand showing nothing inside because the index finger is folded inside. You now take it one step further by making it disappear like that. I'll show you what the back view looks like. Here it is. It's in this position. I open my hand, straighten my index finger, and this hand actually pushes it into position. Okay? So once again, we're working with those angles of pushing the wrist back and tilting the hand down, and this allows your audience not to see the finger when it's looking head on. Obviously, angles are critical, and you should be working in front of a mirror and practicing in front of the mirror. At this point, I always like to say, well, you know, if I felt like it, I could spread my fingers, but I don't feel like it. And then you bring it back by just, then I show both sides empty. And the way that's done is very simple. The left thumb comes in, hiding what's happening. Let me show you what's happening. Hiding the fact that this pinky is getting back into position. You let the pinky just fall right in. So it's here. The thumb comes in. You show both sides briefly, and then you bring it back like that. The next sequence was invented by Morris Fox. It's called the telescopic pinky. And what Morris Fox had is this. He bent the finger in, and it actually looked like a telescope. This is the way it works. Okay? What I've added to it is the idea of showing both sides of the finger. So I hold it with the thumb behind the pinky. You hold it right above the first joint of your pinky, and you tilt down. So it really looks like you can show both sides. Here it is, telescopic in, telescoping out. And that's how the telescopic pinky works, just in and out. What you can also do is take the telescopic pinky and push it right into position. Here, let me show you what it looks like. It telescopes, and then you push it right in to position. From the back, it's in pinky back palm, which, by the way, the pinky back palm idea was created by Tony LaPalato. He's the one who first conceived of the idea of taking your pinky and pushing it behind your hand. And this is how it works. It telescopes in, exposed view, push it into position, spread your fingers. And of course, to bring it back, all you have to do is let it slide right out. This sequence alone is worth learning and using. The next part is what Harry Lorraine, who wrote the Finger Fantasies book, calls far-flung, where all the fingers vanish. And what happens is first the ring finger. You place your hand in front of your right hand in front of your left, as it pushes the ring finger into position. The ring finger is it's a downward tilt as opposed to an upward tilt like the index finger, but the wrist keeps getting pushed back. So it's here, push the wrist back, tilt the hand down, and the ring finger is gone. Okay? You slap your hand, bring it back. Now the middle finger goes down, and push the wrist back, tilt the hand down, and it looks like it disappeared. Bring this back, and the index finger, which we went over at the beginning, this is the position, and that's gone, and you bring it back. Now this is very startling magic. Your fingers have just disappeared, and you need a breather. The breather is actually John Bentz's idea of doing a thumb switch, and I've added it with this pattern, the hitchhiker pattern. Whereas if you know what this is, and someone's bound to say thumb, and then you say, that's how I got here today. And this is the thumb switch. Here's the thumb switch. You hold your right thumb across your fingers as your left thumb comes in between the two middle fingers. Both wrists turn around. So what you've just done is switched your left thumb for your right thumb. Here it is again. This goes into position as you turn both wrists around. It's a very deceptive switch of a thumb. If you can wiggle your thumb at this point, it makes it even easier. Here we go again. Now sometimes, if you have a short thumb, you might want to go between the index finger and the middle finger, where you come in here and do it this way. But I prefer the two middle fingers for the thumb switch. You now tilt it back up, run it up and down the arm. This actually gets one of the biggest gasps in the act when you're working for Lehman. And you bring this back to position, and what I do is I lift both hands up, showing that the thumb is really attached. So here's the thumb switch by John Bentz, doing it back and forth and opening up your hands. It's a very deceptive quickie that you can do while doing walk around or what have you. The last sequence is the amputation. When I first started doing this in 1979, the act had no ending. I played with a lot of different endings, and one time at the cafeteria, a friend of mine, Jerry Deutsch, took a knife and he says, why don't you just cut it off? And I thought, hey, let's try it. And it looked really good. And after the thumb thing, I say, well, you know, there's some people that don't really like that, and that's when both hands go into my pockets. The right hand grabs the finger, the fake finger, and just holds on to it. It's really a finger. It's not. You wouldn't call it a finger palm. It just holds on to the thing. And then you have the switchblade. I do the gag about, you know, Brooklyn credit card or New York credit card, and I usually point at someone, maybe try to threaten them or what have you, depending on the audience. Then what you're going to do, and I'll show you the exposed view, is as the right hand comes to take the knife, it actually allows it to be, the finger to be back clipped with your left hand. So here it is again. The hand comes to take the knife away and leaves the fake finger in back clip position. Okay, so here is what from the front. Here's the knife. I come in with a fake finger, and I just place it into position. The pinky is extended out to make it obvious what's going to happen. And, you know, the first time I do a fake, the second time, this is what happens. I'll show you what it looks like from the back. This knife comes right in. Obviously, use the dull side if you're going to come at the knife. Also, what actually happens is you don't take the knife and cut it into the finger. That's going to hurt. What you do is you bring the knife close to the hand and let the hand come down on the knife. Okay, so this is what happens. As soon as the knife, the dull edge of the knife, pushes the pinky into position, you let the fake finger fall. Okay? And the timing obviously makes it look like the finger really fell off. From the front, it looks like the finger is really gone. You either put the knife in your jacket or on the table. You make a frown, you know, an ugly frown on your face, and I do the line, well, what are you, a bunch of sadists? I cut my finger off, you're having fun. But don't despair, I carry spares. That's when you reach into your pocket and remove the string of fingers. This gets a big laugh because it's a relief on the gory thing you just did. Now, obviously, this has to be done as slapstick. You don't want to make this like, you know, real gore and you're really cutting your finger off, and you don't want blood. I never use blood during this act. So I hold this. What I'm going to do is something interesting. I came up with this, but I never really expected to fool anybody with this, but it works. To toss the string of fingers away, I show the top finger, and then I just throw the entire thing down on the floor, pretending I still held on to one finger. But it really looks like I grabbed one off the chain. And then I come in, I put my hand in front of my right hand in front of the left hand. As I turn, I twist this around, pretending like I'm screwing back the finger, and I show that it has restored. And of course, you're ending with an applause cue with both hands, one on each side, and you say thank you. I've actually earned a living doing this act for the past 18 years, since 1979. I've appeared on television all over the world doing this act. And I hope you can get as much out of it as I have over the years. And what you're about to see is a clip that I shot in 1986, before my car accident, before I lost my ring finger, which means I'm doing this act right-handed instead of left-handed. On this tape, I've explained the entire thing as a left-handed person. I had to reteach myself to do this act left-handed. What you're about to see is the way I used to do it when I came up with it right-handed. I hope you enjoy. Thank you. I'm not going to ask you to believe what you're about to see. It's called the ever-popular vanishing pinky. Yes, that's right, this pinky is going to vanish on a count of 3 into my fist. 1, 2, 3, gone, ta-da! You can't see it, can you? No, but really, if the pinky really did vanish when I opened my fist, you should not be able to see the pinky. It's not over here, it's not over here. But just in case you're a skeptic, let me show you, actually, there is no pinky. You know, if I felt like it, I could spread my fingers, but I don't feel like it. And if there's no pinky over here, logically speaking, there should be no pinky over here. And to bring it back, all you have to do is this, and that's called the ever-popular vanishing pinky. Thank you. But, you know, I don't want you at home to try this, because what this actually is, let me explain how it's done. What this actually is a telescopic pinky. You see, it telescopes into the palm. You can really pull it out and push it back in. I wouldn't lie to you. Look, you could really pull it out, push it back. You can really take this pinky and push it so it goes all the way inside. And of course, you could bring it back the same way. But you see, once in a while, something very strange happens, and this finger goes. And when this one comes back, this one goes, and when that one comes back, you know the last one has just got to go. But of course, you know that's impossible. By the way, it's cold sleight of hand. That's a technical name we gave it. By the way, does anybody here know what this is? No. Very good. Actually, what this is a traveling thumb. Let me show you. This is how I got to the studio tonight. You see, it travels. Up and down. My arm. Do you realize this is my favorite part of the entire show? Really, just out of curiosity, anybody here didn't like that last part? Just any? And I see you recognize this. A Brooklyn credit card? I never leave home without it. What will I do? What will I do? Well, using this knife, I'm going to cut my finger off on a count of 3. On a count of 3, here goes. 1, 2, if anybody has a weak stomach, too bad. It is on a count of 3, don't blink. 1, 2. What are you, a bunch of sadists? I cut my finger off, you having fun? But don't despair, because I carry spares. And do you realize if this was for real, I'd only be able to do it 10 times? And it's back. Thank you and good night.